Hello, Degens! Welcome to Degenerate Takes College Football Week 2 reactions and Degenerate Takes. I, of course, am the Brofect1 AJ. Joining me, as always, is the man with the numbers, college football guru, college basketball guru, sportsbook whisperer, daddy of the diamond. All hail the king of the links, the money train, Mr. Noah Engelbretson. Noah, how the hell are you doing today, bub?
AJ, I'm great. It's been a great weekend of football for the most part. Not everything's
Yeah.
been perfect, but hey, I'm ready for the next week already.
Yeah, I'm ready for the next week too, Noah, because let me tell you right now, my bets did not fly. It's fine. You know what I mean? We'll get to my worst beat of the week later. Let's talk, though, about the biggest story coming out of the college football world this weekend after a absolutely um, humiliating loss to Georgia Southern, Nebraska, that lost 45-42. Nebraska decided to move on from Scott Frost firing him on Sunday before the games kicked off. Noah, are you surprised by this move whatsoever? And how much longer until Urban Meyer is wearing his khakis and everything again?
I'm not surprised. This move was overdue. It was gonna happen before the end of the season unless
Oh
Nebraska
yeah.
somehow won 9 or 10 games. Losing to Georgia Southern as a 28.5 point favorite or whatever the hell they were. That
Yeah.
was that was enough to be the straw that broke the camel's back. And yeah, he's gone. Not surprised. I didn't anticipate he was going to make it through the whole season to begin with. So we'll see what Nebraska does. But one of um, one of multiple Big Ten West teams getting upset this weekend.
Yeah, a lot of upsets in general, just around the board, Noah. I mean, let's move on to my two favorite upsets, probably of the weekend. Let's talk about the Fun Belt, brother. App
Let's
State
talk
going
about the
over.
Fun Belt. I mean, we
App
already
State,
started talking about them, so might as well
true.
keep it rolling.
Might as well keep it moving. App State and Marshall also scoring big upset victories over ranked opponents. App State 17-14 over A&M, and Marshall beating Notre Dame 26-21. Noah, Notre Dame looks to be completely in shambles. And let's be real, A&M not looking the best after that loss either. The funniest part about the A&M thing has to be them going through social media and taking down everything that had to do with like their midnight chant or something, and just being complete pussies about taking the loss. What's your thoughts on the Fun Belt, Noah? And are we going to have some more fun with them this year?
There's a reason we call them the Fun Belt, AJ, and I don't expect that to stop. These teams are like not all of them, but there's some teams in the Fun Belt that can be sneaky good. They're not like a joke conference. They, shouldn't be favored in most of these games. Yeah, but they can cause some waves. They can cause some waves, and I don't think they're done. I don't think they're done. I can't believe App State lost to North Carolina, but they should be 2-0 with wins over North Carolina and then at Texas A&M now. Fortunately, they're not, but yeah, I think we could get some more excitement out of the Fun Belt before the season's said and done.
Oh, absolutely. I think I'll be looking at the Fun Belt a lot differently when we handicap all of week 3 coming up later this week. Please like, share, and subscribe to stay up to date with all of our bets and everything like that. Noah, let's move on to probably my most heartbreaking bet of the weekend. For the sole purpose that I went against all of my morals, everything I stand for as a gambler and a sports fan, and just, I'm ashamed of myself, Noah. I'm ashamed. I took Alabama minus the 20 and a half. I came on this show, said it was a steal, and then there I was in the fourth quarter begging them not to score another point so Texas could be all the way back. Noah, what the fuck is going on with Alabama? Because let me tell you, watching that game, that didn't look like an Alabama team of the past. It doesn't look like an Alabama team of the future, and it doesn't look like an Alabama team with any stars on it whatsoever. Barely beating Texas 20-19. Noah, what are your thoughts?
I think it was a fluke game, if I'm going to be completely honest.
Really?
Yep. And funniest thing ever, Texas now jumping into the rankings for the first time this season following a loss.
Yeah.
um, uh, which just shows there's still enough people who are way too far up Texas's ass. Craziest thing, Fox reporting that this was the highest ever watched regular season college or NFL football game.
Wow.
Highest ever. Yeah. So everybody was watching this one. Um, I was not one of those. I was, obviously at the
Oh,
Gophers
you're at the
game.
Minnesota game, yeah.
Yeah. So wasn't really able to, but I was keeping my eye on it. It was interesting. I'm not going to overreact about Alabama yet or Texas. Again, I'm chalking this up to a fluke game. Um, they play this game. One of my favorite things to do, obviously, is if they played 10 times and if they played 9 more times, I think Alabama blows the wheels off Texas in those next 9 games. So
Yeah.
I'm not going to pay too much attention to that for either team yet. Obviously, the next couple weeks will be more telling if either of these two kind of keep up the same momentum from this.
Yeah, no, I'm with you, Noah. I'm not going to overreact to either of them yet. I'm not saying Texas is back. I'm not saying Alabama's bad. Just definitely something I want to keep my eye on. And let me tell you, though, one team I was right about, and one team that is all the way back, and one team that is going to dog walk the Pac-12, being USC, number 10, going up against. They went up against Stanford this weekend, beat them 41-28 at Stanford. They're 2-0. Obviously, they're going to be the best team in the Pac 12. No, I really think they have a solid opportunity if they run the tables to end up in the college football playoffs.
Yeah, if they run the tables being the big operative part of that, because they're not going to run the tables. Stanford is terrible. Stanford is not good. You're
Yeah,
only
but Noah,
beating
I'm
Stanford
looking at
by
the rest of their.
13.
Oh, fine, fair enough. But no, I'm looking at the rest of the schedule. And I mean, besides Fresno State next week and then Notre Dame at the end of the season, I do not see a challenge for them whatsoever.
I think they could be in jeopardy of losing at Oregon State. Oregon State, I think, is a sneaky good football team. I think people aren't giving them credit where credit's due. I think they'll finish third or fourth in the Pac-12. So that's a game. I don't think they lose at home to Arizona State. They don't lose at home to Washington State, although Washington State did just go into Wisconsin and beat Wisconsin. So who knows? Maybe. I think they lose at Utah, and then they have Cal and Colorado at home. They're not losing either of those two. But at UCLA and then at home against Notre Dame, if Notre Dame can figure it out by week 12, like they could still lose 3 or 4 games. They could run the table. I'm not ruling that out, but they could lose 3 or 4 games. Obviously, they'll beat Arizona at Arizona too. I'm pretty sure. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, I'm not going to count my chickens before they hatch here because I could see this USC team finishing with as many as 4 losses on their schedule if things don't go their way and they get some bad bounces and stuff. I still think Utah's the best team. Crazy that USC wins at Stanford by 13, jumps up 3 spots in the rankings.
Yeah.
Utah dropping in the rankings despite a 73-7 win over Southern Utah, and somehow they still dropped a spot or two. That blows my mind. That is the classic anti Pac-12 bias
Yeah.
that a team can go out and blow the wheels off, even a shitty team like Southern Utah, but still 73-7 and you drop in the rankings. How does that work?
Yeah, college football rankings will always remain a mystery to me. But Noah, speaking of which, let's talk about some more upsets coming out of this weekend. In Pittsburgh, Tennessee decided to have themselves a day beating Pitt 34-27. Noah, we've been high on Tennessee in football and basketball. I mean, I really don't. I really see them as a solid squad all around, as a great sports program all around. I'm enjoying this Tennessee offense as I did last season. I'm enjoying their defense. I think they'll hang around, mess around, probably end up in the top 15 and just kind of hover around there for the rest of the season.
Maybe. I don't think Pitt's very good.
No, Pitt's
And
terrible.
and this game did go to overtime. Tennessee getting the backdoor
True.
cover there is a 6-point favorite, winning by 7 in overtime.
Love to see
Uh,
it.
Pitt barely beat West Virginia, who lost to Kansas this past week. Now losing to Tennessee. So I don't know. I think Pittsburgh was severely overrated coming into this season. So I'm not
Yeah.
knocking Tennessee on a win. I'm not going to knock them on a win. I'm just saying I don't know. I don't know with Tennessee. I don't know how good or bad they're going to be. I think the ceiling is like decently high for this team, but I could also see them finishing outside of the top 25 when it's all said and done, playing that SEC schedule. Um,
Yeah, very true.
just hard to say for me on that one. But yeah, a lot of disappointing looking teams in the top 5 or top 10 this week.
Well, shit,
Oddly enough,
let's even talk about the top 20 with Wisconsin at number 19, taking an L to Washington State 17-14.
yeah, that was
It wasn't
bad
an exciting game by any means necessary. No one said Wisconsin was going to be this powerhouse, but you can't drop a game to Washington State
at
at
home.
home, bro. At home. I mean, the Badgers are in such a disarray. Like Wisconsin, I feel like it's just going to be a great under team for the rest of the season, and that's really the only way I'm going to bet on.
Yeah, it could be. I saw the Big Ten East are combined 14-0, and the
Ooh,
Big Ten West has one team that hasn't lost, that being Minnesota.
Jesus Christ!
so, so yeah, you got if there's ever a year that Minnesota should win the Big Ten West and go to the Big Ten championship, it's this year. I mean, it only
Yeah,
took till week 2 for the door to be open for them. So
absolutely.
so they should do it. But Big Ten East looking really strong for the most part. Ohio State, Michigan State, all looking the part. Penn State not looking shabby at all,
Not bad at all for
and
Penn.
and even Rutgers and Maryland look decent. It's like the whole Big Ten East looks like it might be a gauntlet, which will be really interesting to keep our eyes on. Could have an you look at Michigan State, and Ohio State. I could see one or maybe more than one of them getting upset at some point in the
Ooh,
season by another Big Ten opponent, like and derail it, kind of almost derailing those playoff hopes by like a even a Minnesota, a Purdue, a Penn State, somewhere in there could potentially ruin playoff hopes for one of these teams.
yeah, no, absolutely. Definitely looking for some spoilers this year as we get deeper into college football. No, I want to take the last couple seconds here that I have to, well, my last opinion really on college football this weekend. I saw way too many Michigan fans too excited about this win over Hawaii, 56-10. I mean, you're 2-0 against shitty teams.
And they
I
play UConn next week.
Yeah. So, Michigan fans, I do ask you all to politely shut the fuck up until you actually play someone that has a football team. Like, what the fuck are we even talking about here, bro? Granted, they're number 4, bad preseason rankings and everything like that, but they're missing such key parts of their defense and offense. Like, even watching part of this game, like, Michigan looked good, but they look good against Hawaii. It's not like they look good against a team that actually cares. So, Michigan fans, please just pump the brakes for a second. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, and AJ, I got a couple last little nuggets. I got I
Let me
got my
hear it,
little
bro.
two SEC teams that I don't want to say people aren't paying attention to, but could potentially cause some waves, especially with Georgia. And it's hard to sit here and say a team that won 33-0 looked disappointing, but they look disappointing. I mean, you beat
Yeah.
Oregon 49-3. How are you beating? Would they play like Samford or something like that? And it was only
Samford.
30, and it was only 33-0. But
Yeah.
I'm still fully on the Woo Pig Arkansas train this year. And hey, Kentucky, all the fucking Twitter beef going around where everyone's like, "Oh, shut up, you're a basketball school," and then Kentucky's like, "We're a sports school," and everyone's giving them shit for that. Well, you know what? They look like they might be a football school now too. So, shout out to them. And then my last shout out, the Who's back, the boys from Provo, our Mormon friends,
Boys, let's go.
BYU beating Baylor. Their kicker better be taking that entire defense out to steak dinners after missing what would have been the game winner in regulation, what would have been the game winner in the first overtime, and then the offense finally scored and their defense held. They get the win in double overtime, but that kicker really better be buying that whole defense steak dinners as a thank you for him not looking like a schmuck. But yeah, BYU up to 12. And like I said on our last episode, AJ, if they can find a way to run the table, they've got the strength of schedule built in. We could be seeing BYU in the playoffs. I don't know. I'm not going to get
And
too ahead of myself, but it's a possibility. It's out there.
Okay, I'm all about BYU in the playoffs. I'm all about the boys in Provost. They're going to have an epic weekend. And Noah, we will talk about more kickers that need to buy defenses dinner in our NFL recap coming out later tonight or tomorrow morning. We'll get into all of that. But of course, in order to make sure you know that video comes out, you got to like, share, and subscribe down below. Also, hit the link tree in the description. Check out our merch store if you want to support the show. And of course, follow us on all social media platforms. With that being said, I've been the Brofect1 AJ. That's been the Money Train Noah, and we'll see you next time on Degenerate Takes.